suppose it's still the same, is it? Frustration, frustration, frustration. I say it 3 times because there was 3 gift goals.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where we're at the minute. It is hugely frustrating. There's some mistakes are acceptable, some aren't. That was the case on Saturday. And we've got to make sure that we stick to our principles, because that's how you get better. We retain that belief that we're heading in the right direction, and hope that then the levels improve. It's always that steadfastly remains the sort of core of our season, really.
I think if you talk to any long-serving Alexander supporter, you won't be the first group of players that you're dealing with that have made mistakes. It's gone on and gone on, hasn't it? It just seems as though it's something that continues with the football club, no matter what you try out on the training ground.
Yeah, you've got to understand that most of these lads it's their first real run in the team. I did the Railwaymen podcast yesterday, and they asked me who developed. I could have reeled off about 15 names straight off the bat. It's Travis's first real run, it's Billy Davis's first real run, it's Regan's first real run, Josh Lundstrom's first real run. I could go on and on and on. And they're all getting better. Although where they're going to end up? No, of course they're not, because they are developing through that, because it's not linear, because they don't just get incrementally better each game. They have peaks and troughs and make mistakes along the way. It's you get what you get, if you like, and that's frustrating. But then this time last year, everyone saw how all the players that have left us had got through that period and became consistently very good players, leading to most of them playing in a higher division. Now we've got to make sure that process remains, that belief remains, so that we get them to where we want them to be, and that's the fundamental principle of this football club.
I suppose the other side of it as well is that you had a lot of possession. I know your first 20 minutes were second best, there's no doubt about that on Saturday, but then as the game came alive, you had lots of possession. You just couldn't be ruthless enough in that area. Again, that's something that you've got to try and develop. Yeah,
listen, we've had an unbelievable chance to go 2-2, and it probably changed the game. Their know-how, their experience, every time when we were on top, every time the ball went out, one of their players was on the floor. And that's I'm not criticising that, I'm just saying that's their know-how, that's their professionalism, call it what you want. It kills the game, but we kept that momentum going for a large part of the game. They changed shape, I think, 3 times in the second half to counter that at 2-1, and we deserve something from the game at that point. They go and score a third, and it flatters them. However, when you're having the periods of play like we had, we've got to make sure that we do take chances, we do create chances. We created chances on Saturday. There was one before that where Daniel Aggie shot over the bar, and it's a great bit of play, and we had to work hard for his chances, but we did, and we got them. So when you do that, you hope that we then take them, and you also hope that you don't make the mistakes at the other end of the pitch. If you do that, then you've got a chance. You do the opposite, don't take your chance and make mistakes, then you haven't. Now that's far easier said than done, but that's the challenge.
Can you get into your players then something like what Wickham had got on Saturday in that man management that you can develop when you're in that sort of position, and that can help them to get through a game?
I don't. I certainly don't tell them to influence the referee in any way, shape or form. I'm not saying Wickham did on Saturday, but some teams do. In terms of game management, there's different ways of doing it. much prefer game management, keeping the ball. You know, you saw Man City yesterday. What was it, 8% they had for the last 15 minutes of the game, Man United, 92%. That's game management. That's proper game management. There's no, oh, he's taking his time at throwing, or he's running 15 yards further down the line. That's game management. That's what we want to achieve. So the answer to the question is yes. It's just not in the blatant fashion that most teams are allowed to get away with it. You know, and there's, you know, I'd be very surprised if the lad who come off with concussion didn't play. I bet you he plays. But, yeah, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm not judging anyone. You know, we're talking about professionalism. We're talking about game management. So I'm not trying to pick a fight with anyone, whether it be Gareth or their player or referees or anything. I'm not. I'm just saying that's you know, that's very difficult to instill in 21-year-olds and 22-year-olds who've only been at this football club. In fact, it's now impossible because they haven't seen the dark arts. They haven't, because we don't teach them it. Because I don't personally think that's right. Amongst other things, we'd much rather make sure that they pass the ball to each other. You know, for 95 or 100 minutes. You know, Harry Pickering was one of the worst. We'd be winning 3-0 or 1-0 with 10 minutes to go and sprint for the ball to get the ball back in play. And I'm thinking, Harry, just relax, will you? But he's very much of the mindset, well, we'll keep the ball for the next 10 minutes. It's not a problem. The kind of thing. And you've that sort of youthful exuberance, some might say naivety, has got to be tempered or understood that's a warm way of looking at game management. Not always right. You know, we lost to Wycombe earlier on the season by Willie Escalante trying to score a goal 1-1 away from home at Wycombe. You know, he made a mistake. You know, first to hold his hand up. We all knew it. It was obvious for everyone. You think, well, I can see why you're doing it. Cost us a point. You know, but it might have won us 3. So you've got to that youthful exuberance. You've got to actually understand that can spill into mismanagement of games.
It's been a hectic schedule of fixtures since you really kicked off, and you're coming towards the end of it now. But you've still got this week is a 3-game week. Saturday's gone. You've a Tuesday night one, and the Saturday one to come. Is it? You named a rare, unchanged side. I think the first time in the league was what happened at the weekend. But do you have to assess again how people are and weigh it up whether you need to freshen it up?
Yeah, always have to do that. That's every game. So that'll be the case for tomorrow.
Just talking of young players, Conor Reardon had a word from Sam Vokes after the game. I don't know whether he spoke to you about that, but it was interesting. Sam Vokes went to him and said, "Well done."
Did he?
You know, it's great that a Welsh international and a Premier League centre forward has gone to a teenager.
Of course, that's again. He's been terrific, Conor. Absolutely terrific. You know, so you know, credit to him. You know, I just hope it doesn't affect him going forward. He's had some tough opponents in this last few weeks, and he's got a few more coming up if he gets selected. You know, so you know, all these challenges are good for him. You know, will he have seen Sam Vokes? Well, not his quality, but I'm pretty certain when he was on loan at Kidsgrove and Nantwich, he probably did see someone as big and as strong and that physical frame. You know, so it stood him in good stead, and he's getting a real challenge at the minute, and he's doing okay. Are you seeing
the development there? Not just from him, but and you've talked many times about partnerships, and it's a new one. Travis Johnson offered Conor Reardon.
Yeah. Well, sometimes needs must. Sometimes needs must. And I was just saying in the office, I thought Travis did well again on Saturday. I I think that right side of a centre half might be his best position. You know, is he an outstandingly technically gifted player? No, he's not. He's a physically very good one. So, you know, playing that slightly exposed centre half position, especially if you play attacking wing backs, you've got to be able to cover the ground, and Travis can. So, you know, he's doing fine. He's come on. You know, again, I said on the podcast yesterday, how many games did you expect Travis to play at the start of the season? 10, 15, 20, 25. Well, he's certainly, you know, going in the right direction. That's for sure. You know, and he's doing fine, and we've got to make sure that whoever's selected for this next run of games plays the right way, does the right things, and gives a good account of themselves, and hopefully doesn't make mistakes. But if they do, then don't make that mistake again. And if they do that, then 6 months, 12 months, 18 months time, I know it's horrible to say it, they will be, you know, good players. They will be good players. So that's where we're at.
Good to see one, talking of people in and out of the team, good to see one player back in the building. That's Billy Sass-Davis, and I think there could be some better news. You thought it might be a long term time, but fingers crossed he could be. Yeah,
he's still a way away. But there's a small possibility that he might be back before the end of the season. With the size of the blood clot, the new anticoagulants are different, because I had DVT during my career, and I was out for 6 months and not allowed to do anything. Whereas the anticoagulants now allow you to do some exercise, but you can't make your heart rate go, you know, beyond a certain threshold. You can't do any contact, obviously. You can't do sort of technical skills, if you like heading a ball, you know, because you might get a bleed on the brain. So it's a pretty serious reason not to do that. You know, but hopefully he's back at the physician, you know, the consultant, the end of this month, and then we'll reassess from there.
Well, let's look at Portsmouth then, because it's the first of the two big hitters that you've got coming up. Sunderland to follow, of course, but it hasn't gone quite their way, has it? But they've hit a bit of form, and they'll still fancy that they can get through the back door.
Yeah, look, I think Portsmouth are in a transition themselves. You know, they've got a manager that's only been there 18 months, is it? 12 months, something like that. They haven't got as much resources as others, as you might think. Don't get me wrong, it's still healthy. You know, so they're trying to stamp their authority on the game and the way they play. And you know, I'm sure if they get it right, then they'll be a force to be reckoned with. We've got to make sure that whatever they do, you know, the last time they come here, they wanted to press the life out of us and stop us playing, and I probably don't expect anything too dissimilar, because they knew that we're a threat in possession. So we've got to make sure that we know what's coming, and we also, you know, out of possession, we also know what's coming when their players are on the ball.